立法會主席。 發言，石禮謙議員就政府帳目委員會係鄭松泰議員。
我有規，唔好意思啊。唔該主席。
係。
咁響清晨嘅時間呢，美國總統簽署行政指令，係取消咗香港嘅特殊待遇。咁亦都指出香港嘅自由咧係同埋權利被奪去啦。香港冇能力同自由市場競爭。我認為咧呢個講法咧係嚴重影響香港長遠嘅社會經濟同埋民生嘅利益嘅。所以我根據咧議事規則嘅16(2)條，希望能夠係得到批准係進行呢一個係關於香港被取消特殊待遇地位嘅議案進行辯論。希望主席能夠考慮。
鄭松泰議員，我明白你要求辯論嘅事宜係備受各界關注。然而，一如大家所知，美國總統係已經簽署有關法律，況且有關嘅事宜議員仍然可以透過唔同渠道作出跟進，而無需有必要喺今次立法會會議上以休會待續議案嘅形式係進行辯論。一如議員所知，今次會議係本屆立法會最後一次會議。而議程上嘅12項法案必須喺今次會議上處理。基於上述嘅考慮，我裁定鄭松泰議員提出嘅議案並不符合議事規則第16(2)條嘅規定，我不批准你嘅要求。我已經講咗咧，美國總統已經簽署咗呢個法律，所以唔係迫切到係一定要喺今次會議上去辯論。石禮謙議員。
Mr. President, before I speak, I'd like to thank each and every member of the Public Accounts Committee for their hard work during the last 4 years. Now I start my report. On behalf of the Public Accounts Committee, I have the honor to table our report number 74. Out of the 8 chapters covered by the Director of Audit's report number 74, the committee has decided to conduct detailed investigation on 2 chapters, namely, management of funding for sports development through the Arts and Sport Development Fund, and Sports Federation and Olympic Committee of Hong Kong, China. The committee has studied the other 6 chapters by first asking the parties to provide written replies on their measures to address the inadequacies raised in the Director of Audit report. With a view to enhancing government accountability, the committee has also adopted a new arrangement by conducting short hearings on some of these chapters. Within a 30-minute hearing for each selected chapter, the relevant bureau, departments, and organizations are invited to explain publicly their measures taken and answer follow-up questions from members. 3 chapters with issues which have been repeatedly identified in previous Director of Audit's reports are chosen for short hearings in the present report. They are Chapter 3 on Employees Retaining Board, Chapter 6 on Management of Insolvency Services, and Chapter 7 on Management of Short-Term Tenancies by the Lands Department. The committee finds such arrangement very useful and effective in raising public awareness of the work of the government. Regarding the 2 chapters for which the committee has held detailed investigation, they have a few things in common. I will highlight 4 points. First, they are about sports development in Hong Kong. For the first chapter, about funding for sports development through Arts and Sport Development Fund, The committee has put in quite a lot of efforts examining the operation and governance of Hong Kong Football Association, HKFA, a national sports association to develop football in Hong Kong. For the second chapter, it is mainly on the work of the Sports Federation and Olympic Committee of Hong Kong, China, the National Olympic Committee of Hong Kong, China. From the start, the committee wishes to stress that both HKFA and the Olympic Committee must preserve its autonomy and resist all pressures of any kind which may prevent them from complying with the Olympic Charter. Second, both organizations receive substantial funding from the government, and they have to ensure that money is spent in a value-for-money manner. For HKFA, funding has been provided from the Sports Development Fund to launch the Phoenix projects on football development from 2011 to 2015, and a 5-year plan from 2015 to 2020. A new 5-year plan has been prepared by the HKFA for the administration's consideration. In 2017 to 2018, the total government funding amounted to more than $34 million. For the Olympic Committee, the total amount of funding in 2018 to 2019 was around $39 million. The Home Affairs Bureau, which also increased its recurrent subvention to the Olympic Committee from $20 million last year to $40 million in 2020 to 2021. Third, the committee finds the governance of both organizations had room for improvement. The committee finds it appalling and inexcusable about the instances of non-compliances, irregularities, and inadequacies relating to the governance of HKFA. One of the most disappointing examples was that the Audit Committee, a standing committee of the HKFA, which is responsible for the important task to monitor and review the effectiveness of HKFA internal audit function, was not formed from July 2015 to June 2019. This is ridiculous. The Hong Kong community and local football fans have high expectation of HKFA to raise the standard of football in Hong Kong, as well as the ranking of Hong Kong football teams. However, the committee considered the HKFA overall achievement have been to the best and to be described as disappointing. And in this regard, it reflects the administration had failed to closely monitor HKFA overall performance from a value-for-money perspective. The committee strongly urges HKFA to take measures to rectify various non-compliances, deficiencies, and irregularities expeditiously. The Hong Kong Home Affairs Bureau, which is responsible for monitoring the use of funding by HKMA under the Sport Development Fund, should consider measures to assist HKMA to improve its governance. For the Olympic Committee, the committee expresses alarm and strong resentment and finds it unacceptable that the Olympic Committee's athlete selection process and system for international games, which have been used for over a decade, had deficiencies and irregularities as reviewed in the Directors of Audit report and at public hearings. One of the deficiencies is that in selecting athletes to participate in the 18th Asian Games, the selection committee has considered factors such as the athlete is a member of the relay team or a holder of Hong Kong Sport Institute scholarship, and the selection committee had not formally announced these factors to the athletes and the public beforehand. The committee strongly urges the Olympic Committee to review its athlete selection and review processes, making reference to overseas practices. Fourth, the committee considers that the representatives of the relevant bureau, department, and government-funded organization should attach more importance to the Director of Audit's report, as well as to make better preparation for their appearance at the committee's public hearings. One of the most striking examples was that representatives of the Olympic Committee have been seen as answering the committee's question evasively, providing inconsistent and multi-version answers to the same question, as well as providing incomplete information taken out of context. On this, the committee expresses alarm and strong resentment and finds it unacceptable. This is the last committee's report of the 6th Legislative Council. In looking back at the past 4 years, the committee has conducted 53 public hearings on 21 subjects and published 14 reports. I would like to stress that the conclusion and recommendation are made by the committee in a constructive spirit and forward-looking manner. I will call on the administration to ensure all the Bureau, Department, and government-funded organizations could learn the lessons from the committee's report, as well as the Director of Audit's reports. They should implement necessary measures well in advance to prevent the occurrence of the non-compliances, deficiency, and irregularities identified. Lastly, I wish to record my appreciation of the contribution made by members of this committee, as I have started when I begin the speech. Our gratitude also goes to the witnesses who attended the hearings held by the committee. I would like to express our gratitude to the Director of Audit and his colleague for their unfailing support. Last but not the least, to the Legislative Council Secretariat for their hard work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
謝偉俊議員就議事規則委員會2019年10月至